As the game Helldivers 2 has evolved with new content and new enemies, the best loadout has often changed. At some points, the recoilless rifle was the be-all and end-all of stratagems, and while it still is, it is not applicable in many situations. With every nerf and buff the game has faced in its lifecycle, the meta shifts. And today, we're going to be talking about the best loadout for all three factions in Helldivers 2. Each one is only slightly different, so you don't have to get used to completely different weapons. So, let's get into it. Now, for this loadout to be so great, it has to work well with a team and for a solo player. So we have to think about what is both a good support role and a good lone wolf setup. First off, let's talk about the armor, and by extension, the armor passive. We first need to decide what your playstyle is, as this can affect it slightly. We are focused on tactical survival and thus what we have at our disposal. The two best passives are going to be the engineering kit and the med kit. The med kit passive is found in the Alpha Commander, Bone Sniper, Physician, Clinician, Trench Paramedic, and Butcher armor sets. This is best for players who want to focus more on health and staying alive for as long as possible, as it gives you more stems, typically 6 instead of 4. Although the engineering kit passive is probably better in this build. The engineering kit passive found in the Breaker, Titan, Demolition Specialist, Ravager, Drum Master, Trench Engineer, Juggernaut, Groundbreaker, Grenader, and Gorilla are better because of the specific grenade we plan on taking, at least for the Automatons and the Terminids. We will use a different grenade for the Illuminate, but that's a story for later. Now, there is a third passive that would be decent, and it's the Siege Ready passive that isn't bad for this build, as it gives you more ammo for your primary weapon, but it's not as good as the others. For the helmet, take whatever you like, and same with the cape. Next up, we're going to talk about the primary and secondary weapons. These aren't that important to which you take, but it is best if you take a primary that has a high fire rate. Eruptor and rifles aren't good in this build. You need something that can clear out smaller enemies pretty quickly. As for the secondary, my suggestion is the Warrant, as it is great at dealing with the flyers, such as the elevated overseers or the streakers. The final part before the stratagems and booster is the grenade. Now, the best grenade to take, at least for the bugs in the bot in this loadout, is going to be the Thermite. Hence why I said the engineering kit passive is the best, allowing you to take 5 instead of 3. The Thermite is the only anti-tank weapon you will be taking in this build. So against the bot tanks and the bugs chargers, this works very well. As for the Illuminate, any type of fire or gas grenade will do. Thermite doesn't work as well, and it's hit or miss on the flesh mobs anyways. Now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the cool stuff, the stratagems. First off, there are some flexibility to this loadout depending on the faction of your playstyle. Now, the stratagems consist of a support weapon, a backpack, a sentry, and either an eagle or an orbital depending on personal preference and faction fighting. Now, let's talk about the bugs first. The 4 stratagems for the bugs are as follows. The GL-21 grenade launcher for bug holes and clearing large hordes of bugs, since you won't be able to close bug holes with a thermite. The B1 supply pack, and we will be taking this on all 3 loadouts, so I won't be saying that again, but just remember, we're taking the B1 supply pack on all 3 loadouts. Now, this keeps your grenade launcher and your stems topped up, as the grenade launcher can chew through ammo really quickly. It can also help keep your teammates well stocked. And the sentry is the AG-16 Gatling sentry for its very high fire rate and medium armor penetration. Now, this is very good because it just clears out bug breaches and hordes in general. It just decimates them. It's pretty fantastic. And the final stratagem is a little bit looser. If you're in the squad and you can deal with Biotitans, or if you're playing on difficulty without them, then you're going to want to take either the Orbital Napalm Barrage or the Eagle Napalm Strike, depending on your preference. These are really good at dealing with the smaller guys, as the fire damage can kill just about anything up to warriors. The rest of them will be damaged significantly, allowing you to take them out very quickly. Now, if you are dealing with Biotitans, then I would suggest the Orbital Railgun. Easy one-shot kill. Now, this just allows you to take out the Biotitans, so you don't have to worry about them as much. But if there are a bunch, then I guess that could be a slight issue, in which case, well, this build's not for that. That's why you have teammates. Now, for the sake of not being too confusing, again, the B1 supply pack is being taken on all 3, and the grenade launcher is being taken against the Illuminate and the bugs. So the reason we're going to take it against the Illuminate is because of the voteless, and it 2-shots overseers, which is really nice. And it also deals with flesh mobs pretty effectively and fairly quickly, although it can be a little bit funky. So do be careful of that, but it does take them out pretty well. Now, against the bots, instead of a grenade launcher, you want to be taking the railgun. Now, this is because it can one-shot everything up to and including the Hulk. So Hulks, Devastators, Berserkers, Striders, all that kind of stuff, one shot with the railgun. Sometimes it isn't if you hit the wrong spot of it, so do be careful, and you do have to hit the eye of a Hulk with the railgun to one-shot it, so there is that, although it does die after like 5 shots of the safe mode and like 2 shots of the unsafe mode. So there's that. Now, the Gatling turret is going to be used against the Illuminate as well, as it destroys Voteless and Overseers, as well as does quite a bit of damage to flesh mobs. Now, you can substitute it for the Rocket Sentry, as the Rocket Sentry will deal with the elevated Overseers, the flesh mobs, other Overseers, and the Harvesters, as this is one of the bigger issues with the higher levels. So I would take a Rocket Sentry against the higher level Illuminate, but again, Gatling Sentry is better just in general. Although the Gatling Sentry can take out the Harvesters pretty quickly because of its medium armor penetration, and it targets the legs. So it can disintegrate a Harvester pretty quickly if it hits the right spot. Now, against the bots, the best Sentry is the Autocannon Sentry. Now, this is because it can wipe out large groups of everything up to Hulks. Now, like Berserker, like let's say you're getting charged up a hill by about, I don't know, 10 Berserkers or something. You can take them all out with a railgun, but you're going to get pushed back like 100 yards, having to reload, turn around, fire, reload, turn around, fire, all that kind of stuff. The Autocannon Sentry is much more effective at dealing with the large waves of Berserkers. So that's what I would take instead of that. So as for the red stratagem, against the bots, the best is the Walking Barrage, because it can wipe out bases very effectively and destroy just about anything within its path. Now, the Walking Barrage is basically a moving 380 barrage, so it uses the same projectiles, except it moves. So if you do want one that is just stationary, then take the 380. But if you don't mind having the long pathway be destroyed, take the Walking Barrage. It's better than the laser because it has more than 3 uses per mission, which that limitation is pretty rough. Now, if you prefer Eagles, I would take the Eagle Strafing Run, as it is a very offensive stratagem and covers you very well. It takes out just about everything up to Hulks, so that's very nice. It can struggle with Hulks and tanks, but that's why you have Thermite and a railgun with you to deal with that. As for Illuminate, you can take either the Walking Barrage as well, as this will deal with the warp ship bases very, very effectively and just destroy anything else in its path, or the Eagle Cluster Bombs, as this clears out large hordes of Voteless and Overseers and can do decent damage to flesh mobs. So the Cluster Bomb is another very, very good stratagem to take. All in all, for the bugs, we have the Supply Pack, the Grenade Launcher, the Gatling Sentry, and either the Napalm Barrage or the Eagle Napalm Strike. For the Squid, we have the Supply Pack, once again, the Grenade Launcher, also once again, the Gatling Sentry or the Eagle or the Rocket Sentry, depending on what your preference is, and either the Walking Barrage or the Eagle Cluster Bomb, depending on, again, what your preference is. And for the bots, we have the Supply Pack, obviously, the Railgun, the Autocannon Sentry, and either the Walking Barrage or the Eagle Strafing Run, once again, depending on preference. Now, this is the loadout that I personally run this one about 90% of the time. Like, I mean, I'll do other ones if I'm working on something else, or if I need another build, or if someone asks me to run something else. But this is what I run 90% of the time when I am choosing the stratagem, and it has never let me down. Now, the last thing we have to talk about is the booster. Now, the booster can be a bit subjective, but the one I always take is the stamina enhancement. So this just means you run faster, and if you're playing solo, then that means, well, you can get away from trouble faster. So that is something that I would really suggest. Now, if you disagree with what I've said, I'd be more than happy to debate it in the comments. With that being said, if you like this video and want to see more like this, leave a like and subscribe, as I'd really appreciate it and it means a lot to me. Remember, Helldivers, for Super Earth and managed democracy, I'll see you next time.